Kenya has expressed interest in joining BRICS, a powerful group of countries that's expanding fast and reshaping global trade. The bloc now includes Saudi Arabia, Iran, Egypt and Ethiopia. But beyond the headlines, what would BRICS membership actually mean for Kenya's economy? What would it mean for trade, fuel prices and jobs? Let's unpack it. About BRICS Plus. It's a name that's been making waves in Africa, which is looking to strengthen its position in the global economy.
Leaders of the BRICS alliance of 5 nations have invited another 6 countries to join. They are Argentina, Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates.
This was done at its 2024 BRICS Plus summit in Russia.
Kenyan President William Ruto has approached China to gain support for the BRICS membership.
U.S. President-elect Donald Trump has warned BRICS member countries over attempts to undercut the U.S. dollar.
Kenya sought Beijing's support in integrating Kenya into BRICS.
BRICS Plus isn't just a bigger group of countries. It's seen as a possible turning point for trade, jobs and power. But what is this club? Why are more countries joining? And what could it really mean beyond the headlines? Imagine the world economy as a giant open-air market. For years, the richest traders, mainly the United States, Europe and others, have set most of the prices and the rules. BRICS started as Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa. The idea was to trade more with each other, lend to each other and set fairer terms. BRICS Plus is the next step. New members like Egypt, Ethiopia, Saudi Arabia, Iran and the UAE have joined. Together, they now represent nearly half of the world's people and about a third of the global economy.
The continent much easier. It allows produce to come into an airport precinct via rail, and it will open up obviously the southwestern part of the country. So Gauteng is a big metropole, and this will just aid obviously the provinces and the national growth.
In this Gauteng investment conference, what are you hoping to achieve?
Yeah, so get more buy-in from provincial government and national government from the start. We have had buy-in, obviously, because these agreements were signed with provincial government with the.
For Africa, BRICS Plus could help break old patterns.
Investors been activated, and what is their response?
Yeah, so we still in the approval phases with. I mean, a lot of the stuff we've already got, like EIAs and the various municipal approvals, and we've got the backing from the provincial bodies and the municipal bodies. So the IM, or the investment memorandum for local investors, is going to be going out probably in the next 5 to 6 months. But we want to establish the VAL SEZ first, because then, and obviously get the airport licensing. And we think then it will be a more bankable project for local and international investors. But that's 6 to 12 months away.
If BRICS works as hoped, change could come in real ways.
We welcome the Russian initiatives that are aimed at strengthening a number of BRICS countries through the various measures that they have put on the table, such as transport networks and connectivity. This in many ways will help to find ways to integrate and deepen our interconnectedness in new and imaginative ways.
New deals could encourage more local processing, creating factories, packaging plants, transport jobs, and a stronger industrial base.
Most continue to think of Africa as a net recipient of external capital, when the reality is actually quite different. We continue to be a net exporter of capital. However, at times, this is also through illicit financial flows, which should, over time, be stemmed. So if African states are able to mobilize a greater degree of resources internally, that could place the continent on a better footing. I mean, if we look at just remittances, Africa receives more remittances from its own diaspora than the foreign aid budgets of donor countries. And if we tie that with your illicit financial flows, then I think it is quite clear that a case can be made that there are more resources that can be unlocked to power, Africa's economic development.
The BRICS Bank, officially called the New Development Bank, has already funded African projects, including the Lesotho Highlands Water Project and South Africa's Medupi Power Station.
So the problem with African countries is that sometimes they enter into relationships with countries that end up taking advantage of them, where it is not a win-win deal, it's not a win-win situation. You find, like, whether it is European countries or China and Russia and Western and Asian countries, you find they benefit more. They get more than they give. So where Africa needs to position itself is in having strategic, well-tailored bilateral alliances. Go to China, trade and deal with China, but know what you're getting out of those deals and that trade with China. You can't afford to just have the Chinese being the ones who are getting the deal is structured such that it is 80% in favor of the Chinese and African countries are only getting 20%.
The loudest voices in the group still belong to China, India, and Russia. Without a clear plan, there's risk of simply swapping one dependency for another.
Unfortunately, most of the trade deals and most of the agreements you will find around are skewed in the favor of the bigger power, of the bigger country. Either because Africans are desperate, I don't want to say they are poor negotiators, or maybe our leaders are compromised, to accept the bad deals, for their own selfish gain, as opposed to doing the right thing for their countries.
It's like joining a rich charmer. If the smaller members don't speak up, the big players will still decide how the profits are shared. So what happens next? BRICS Plus gives a platform, but what comes of it depends on the choices made now. The chance is there to build stronger industries, create jobs, and secure a fairer place in the global economy. But whether that happens will depend on action, not just words.